And at this point, we're already 5 minutes past the start time, so obviously I have the time reserved for being here for the next hour, but in the absence of a quorum, I think it's reasonable to wait maybe 5 more minutes, and then after that we can decide if there's anything tangential that we want to discuss unrelated to the agenda and without any actionable results, or just fail to convene for this meeting and either potentially reschedule for this month or await our next month meeting.
Can you remind me how many more people we would need to reach quorum?
3 additional members.
Okay. I was going to need to leave a little before 6 today also, even if we hadn't not had quorum.
That might work out well. You might be able to leave a lot before 6.
Same here.
Interesting. Is there anything like communal happening today that I'm unaware of? Did I miss an invitation? So. Okay.
No.
I find it comically ironic how it seems that the extra emphasis on attendance today seemed to produce precisely the opposite result.
Yeah, it's like summer break. Even though people don't have summer break, there's this idea of like, it's a little looser.
Perhaps, yeah. I guess it just falls on bad timing with respect to CAC activities and decisions that need to be made. It would have been great if a month ago we were at this point where we could make all these decisions when we were present in significant numbers.
Yeah.
And I was hoping, actually, yeah, this is ideal that it's still a virtual opportunity meeting time. So I suspect this would potentially even be our last opportunity to have as high of numbers, just knowing that, or suspecting that attendance will decline with non-virtual requirements.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I actually did just get a message from Ryan saying that he will be joining shortly. So we will be only 2 shy of quorum. At this point, I don't imagine that people are going to start filing in 10 minutes after the
Maybe I'll bring something up.
Start time.
Maybe I'll mention something that is indirectly related to CAC stuff, but slightly related.
Sure.
So on the west side of town, there is a plastics packaging company that is supposed to be, I guess it's slated, I don't really know much about it, that's slated to start making their products here sometime this year. And to me, that's troublesome, A, because I imagine, because they make plastics packaging, and A, that's the last thing the planet needs.
Right.
B, we don't need that here. And C, I don't know what kind of pollution that will create. But in my opinion, all plastics from start to finish, it would be best if it stopped. Anyway, so that's a new thing that's come on my radar. Potential new, and I'm sure they're just going to ship their, you know, their stuff around, you know, the world or the country or whatever.
Right.
So I don't know. That's my update.
Do you have any details on the name of the
Yeah,
thing?
the sign says Phoenix.
Ah, okay.
Packaging since 18 something something, but I'm guessing they probably used different materials back in 18 something something.
Right.
And if they want to go back
Plastics
to that,
company.
that sounds fine. You know, give me some aluminum foil and paper, whatever. So anyway, just something to mention as we're trying to reduce waste and reduce sources of
Right.
waste. This is pretty
Right.
major.
Do you happen to know, or if they're new materials, or if they use anything like recycling?
I don't know anything else. And I'm nervous to look into it because I expect it to be bad. I don't know where they are. I don't know if the city had to approve it. I don't know if there was an environmental report. I don't know anything. And I'm nervous to look because it would be a major undertaking.
Yeah, they've had issues over there for before with the PCBs.
Right? Yeah.
I do happen to know that Phoenix is huge and ubiquitous in food product packaging. If you look at
Which
the
is the
bottom.
last thing we need.
Yeah. I also put a link in the chat. The first one is, I don't know, perhaps you've heard of the site, Our World in Data. They do really good articles on a variety of topics that are just heavily data oriented. They produce really nice infographics, and I would say it's unbiased in the sense that they're really just presenting their data on the thing. I mean, obviously you can still bias data, but it's just helpful to have data. And this one in particular, I found there's a plot that indicates exactly sort of the life of plastic, or where all currently made plastics are these days. And it's something like, let's see. I thought it was this article anyway. It just indicated the very small percentage that actually makes it into recycling, or is recyclable and is recycled.
Yeah, I
So,
mean, I don't have numbers, but a lot of food packaging is plastic film, which is not recyclable through, you know, municipal
right,
recycling.
right. Oh, goodness. So, Ryan, I see that you joined as well. I want to say welcome and to inform you that presently we are 4 in total, and we need 6 for a quorum, and we have only, or majoritarily, decision-based items on the agenda for today's meeting. So we are right now, I think, able to conclude that at this point, I don't anticipate any greater attendance. So we can't convene a meaningful meeting, and we can discuss anything tangential if you have anything on your mind to present to the group that's present. And that's why we're talking about plastic pollution right now.
Understood. Thank you for the update.
Mhm.
That stinks about the plastics, though. I gotta admit, unless they're making compostable polymers in secret, but I doubt it.
Even then, it'd be a lot better if we weren't manufacturing more stuff.
Their website is a lot about chemical foaming agents and other yucky sounding things.
So I don't know if it had to get approved by anybody, or if it's just like another company doing manufacturing. So I'm just wondering, like, did anything have to get approved? If
Oh, it would have
so,
to.
like, is that process over? Is there a public comment? These are things I just don't know.
Is it, which side of the road is it on? Is it on the county side or the city side?
On the city side,
Then it would definitely need approval in an industrial park like that for sure. I mean, that's even though it's zoned for industrial use, it's not by right. So they would have had to go through both the city and the county to do industrial like that. So, I mean, if they're saying that they're already in the building phase, then I would doubt that there's much public comment left in the process.
I
But
don't know that companies would wait until full approval to start moving forward because they would expect their proposal to be unhampered. Right.
well, I mean, Rumpke would have already started building in that case if that were true for the county.
Oh, well, yeah, I guess building permits. I also don't know if they're using an existing facility or if they're building another one.
Is it like on a big lot?
There's a lot, but there are also buildings already, and I don't know where they're planning on being, if it's an existing building or, I mean, I don't actually know because there's currently a company in the area, like in that same like parcel area, and I don't know if that company's moving out or if they're going to be sharing or if they're going to be building, or I just don't know. I did see some people on a roof with like construction safety tape or whatever. And I saw a bulldozer, but there's not, I don't know how much space there is to build because I just don't know the lot.
So is the possibility also exists that it could be a third-party development company? I mean, that's just building a structure and leasing the space, and this company intends to lease the space. I don't know. But
Yeah, I wonder if it would make it through city council because it seems like there are some advocates on city council who would not approve it. Possibly.
well, is there any informal or formal consensus on how you would like to proceed for this unconvenable quorumless meeting?
I'm open to reschedule if it can be done, next week, but it seems like
Okay.
this evening will be a wash.
Right, yeah, we've already gone into a quarter of our time, although Nelson is connecting at the moment, but I know had unreliable connectivity at our last meeting. So at this point, we would be one member away from a quorum.
And by the time Lily and I have to leave,
That's right.
we might have all of them.
So it looks like Phoenix Plastics was approved by Monroe County in 2017,
Oh,
and they're even getting like a 10-year tax abatement, which is ridiculous. But because they're apparently trying to do $12 million in improvements to the property and $6.7 million of equipment, planning to create 73 jobs with a total annual salary amount of 2.9 million.
What about the
you?
city?
Dana Palazzo, Vice President of the Bloomington Economic Development Corp. So the company is in the process of closing, and that was in 17. And then I'm just seeing more from the county. So it may still yet go through a city approval process, but if they were being approved by the county in 2017, I don't know.
May I ask where you
I'll send-
located that data?
Yeah, I'll send right here. Sorry, it's I'm going to try to find non-paywall version of it because it's a Herald Times article, but it might be old enough that they have it lifted from there. Let me see.
Nelson, I see you joined the meeting. I just want to catch you up. We are still one member shy of quorum, so we have not convened yet because we have all quorum necessary decisions to make on the agenda. So at this point,
Okay,
we're
well, I was a little late. Sorry.
indeed. We are just looking to achieve quorum so we can convene and at least discuss a budget. Maybe in the interim time, if I may, has anyone, I'll add that I haven't received any responses from anyone containing budgetary information. Did anyone present have the opportunity to look at the budget in order to make any recommendations or proposals for the CAC 2022 budget?
None from me.
No.
All right. Ryan, I tried your link, but I seem to be having a connectivity error. Was anybody else able to access it?
The HT link?
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah, I was able to open it.
okay. Must be related to my browser then. Well, this will certainly make for an interesting watch to anyone who plans to view a CAC meeting for June. Though I may ask our county tech services, do these meetings get published only from the point at which they convene in terms of the recorded content?
I believe they start when I start the meeting.
All right. So this is all public CAC chit chat coming to you live.
The geology news, we had an earthquake just a little bit ago.
In Bloomington?
Not in Bloomington, it was over in Montgomery. It was on the Wabash Valley fault system.
Oh,
It's around 318. I didn't feel it.
I did not either, but I also know I am not very sensitive to seismic activity.
This one wasn't very big.
I'll take the opportunity to note as well, I don't know if I mentioned it to this group yet, but the City of Bloomington's Innovation Department is working on an increased scaled pilot on their resident leaf management program. And they have a few different ways to get involved. It's a pretty cool program because they're trying to replace their collection service with resident managed mulching. So much more practical, natural method of letting leaves do what leaves do in the real world. And if any of you are City of Bloomington residents, you can participate either just by mulching your leaves and signing up, or you can actually be a yard leader and you can coach other people on mulching their leaves. I'm pretty excited about it.
We're just signed up here at our house.
Really?
Yeah.
Sweet.
Well, we've always done it. It's such a pain to get them out to the street anyway.
Right. Not a great model. And also just for your information, Ryan and Nelson, Lily and Morning both have to leave shortly before 6. So we already have a small window. And actually, while we're here, and may as well bring it up, something that I thought might be of interest would be the potential to have a discretionary budget for the CAC if there were any things that the CAC would be interested in undertaking with it. So I didn't have any flashes of inspiration off the top of my head, but I thought collectively, if there was something that we wanted to do, like tabling something or printing something, I mean, anything really, we could have a little funds potentially. I mean, something, a few $100 out of the district's budget, I think would be something they would be willing to consider, since we already have a $1,000 education budget and a $500 travel budget that are rarely used. I just thought I would intended to propose that to see what the committee as a whole thought, but I'm still interested in what those who are present think and can maybe start spinning off ideas for when that conversation actually does take place.
I mean, I think that sounds pretty good. It's not very much money and could allow us to do some things we might not do otherwise.
Yeah. Yeah, and even if we did request something, we could still then decide collectively how to spend it later. What I didn't want to do was request something with no collective intent to do anything with it, and then just have it be an empty, annoying line item for the district budget.
Bloomington has an astounding number of used books, and an awful lot of them, I think, get thrown away, and they might well be certain. I send books to China, for instance. I don't know if there's any. The books are so individual, and I don't know if there's that many that actually make it to the trash. But it would seem there would be good places to send things. The Chinese, particularly, like books and journals.
No, it's not. It's along that vein, but not that solution. I believe the district actually recycles them. I think the South Walnut location takes books of all varieties. I'm not certain what their destination is, but there's at least that.
Yeah, I meant some way to recycle the entire book, not just to shred it,
Right.
make pulp out of it.
Which is still better than landfilling it, but not as good as having someone read it.
They have the little local libraries, but I don't think that, that's not a very big program as far as I can see.
Right.
I'll look into if there is a group.
That sounds good. And also, if we're going to riff, I want to go back to an email that I had sent out. I'll try to quick grab it. And I remember there being a potential for some creative thinking around, I don't remember what subject, but I think this might be an opportunity if I can actually figure it out. Anyone can jump in if they happen to remember off the top of their head. The idea, if I may, of presenting, or let's see, how to best phrase this? Yeah, presenting the notion that achievable goals are essentially a disappointing acceptance of just letting people be lackadaisical about taking care of things, and how to how to make it clear that it's not difficult and absolutely necessary to not be lackadaisical, and to make goals that are realistic according to what people can do and not what we should accept that they're willing to do. If that makes sense.
That does make sense. Are you thinking about the goals for the plan or something else?
No, in this case, just sort of life in general. Thoughts on how maybe we as a committee can present that to the district, or how, again, if we have something, a budget that we could do something with, what sort of, if we wanted to put something outreach together ourselves, or just essentially a way to try to express that in a way that isn't abrasive and is, I don't know about inspirational, but productive. Productive is the right way to put it. Something that's not finger pointing and name calling and kicking dirt, but saying, this is what we are able to really do, and this is what really needs to be done, and here are some goals that are practical, even though like how everybody says the recycle 50% of the stream was this crazy ambitious goal in the 92 plan, and in reality, like, I'm not sure it is that crazy. It probably could be done and would take a little work, but since then we've hovered around 20% for the last like 5 years, I think, as a county, or as a state even. So we creep between like 17 and 20%, and that's just sort of what everyone says is what we're able to do, or the de facto what we're doing. So that's sort of what the goal is, and to push it beyond that is just apparently exceedingly difficult, when the reality, I believe, is less, because it's a cultural thing and not an actual real limitation in a lot of cases. So I figured as long as we're here together in a group of one less than quorum, we can informally talk about that idea, if anyone else had any thoughts.
Yeah, I think that's reasonable. It just seems like lowering of standards, like grasping at, I don't know, grasping for like anything. Just give us anything. Just give us 30%, 35%. Because like you're saying, it's definitely possible. Like there isn't, the only hindrance I think is probably educational and lifestyle, or just like getting into the habit of it. It's not actually limited by an external force. Maybe in some cases, like for people who live rurally, like having access to get to the recycling center. But yeah, it's just like asking for the leftovers and not, asserting that this is important and doable and the world deserves it, or, we can do it.
Right. Yeah, that's maybe.
Yeah, it seems like.
Okay.
Oh God. I was going to say, it seems like more often than not, people state, it's difficult, it's messy, I don't have a place to store it. And those all seem like easy barriers to overcome, for if those are the reasons to not recycle.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
If it's
Our
too hard,
recycling is way cleaner than the trash, and it isn't hard to store. It's just in a pile in the other room.
right?
Yeah, people think of all the other junk they have in their house. Like, get rid of that junk and then put the recycling right there instead.
Right.
Yeah, maybe that's something, again, if funding is a barrier for us in terms of doing something or campaigning in one way or another, that would be something potentially interesting. Again, if we have the collective will to undertake something, or think of a, I don't know, high impact, convenient thing that an expense could assist with. I don't know what that would be. Something to the effect of, I don't know, hosting some sort of web service perhaps that might have a cost associated with it, but it wouldn't require an awful lot of continued follow through on our end. Or even making like, I don't know, team gear. People want to represent the CAC with their apparel.
I think tabling could be a good option, which might not, which might need minimal things like a tablecloth or like, some literature or something, which the district might have anyway.
Right. But at the very least, we could potentially print like a CAC banner or something to hang at the
Right.
table. Well, I think at this point, Morning or Lily, whenever either of you has to go, I will probably consider that my meeting end time as well in the interest of freeing everyone up.
I'm going to go ahead and log off now then, but it was good talking with you all.
Yeah, likewise. Thanks for sticking around. I appreciate your thoughts.
Good to not see you.
Well, I figure if I'm going to be driving, I should just put it on the auto phone instead of like getting the best selfie shot.
I support that decision. I think you did
Put the camera out the window. It'd be fun.
Take us along on the ride.
I can listen and talk, but I can't maneuver my modeling shots. So this is what you get.
All right.
All
I'll
right,
take
have a good
Note
evening.
as well.
Bye.
All right. See ya. And thank you, Morning, as well, for your time and thoughts.
Yep. Talk to you all soon.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Nelson and Ryan, I appreciate you joining as well. I'm sorry it didn't amount to a fruitful session, but your company was appreciated.
I'll talk to John. Maybe I can rouse him.
Yeah, I think at this point, since we're down 2 members who had to go already, I would like to attempt a rescheduling just because it would be nice in the interest of keeping timelines, particularly for the district's budgetary planning,
Yes.
to try to have something in line with that. But I think they're not totally pinned if we don't have, or we still have the potential for our next meeting, but that will also be our first in-person meeting. So I suspect that attendance will also have its difficulties as a result of that. So, all right, I will keep you posted with how things go next, and we will connect again soon.
Sounds good, Joe. Thank you so much for your efforts.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Have a great night.
You too. See ya.